Welcome to the Commander Crew, a Magic the Gathering Commander YouTube channel where we ask the question, who's your commander?
We want to thank you for watching our videos. You can help support us by liking this video, subscribing to our channel, and hitting the bell notification icon.
You can also go to thecommandercrew.com to check out our t-shirts, masks, pet hoodies, and other Commander Crew goodies.
If you want to buy any of the cards seen in this video, be sure to click our TCG Player affiliate link in the show notes below.
Lastly, you can help us out by heading to our official Patreon page and becoming a direct supporter of the channel. Now let's
get to the video.
Oh no.
What is up, everybody? It is Chris and the Commander Crew coming at you with another Commander Quick Take from Crimson Vow. On this episode, we have Geralf, Visionary Stitcher. He is a 1/4 human wizard for 2 and a blue, and he reads, zombies you control have flying. Pretty awesome ability. Pay a blue, tap it, sacrifice another non-token creature. You create an XX blue zombie creature token, or X is the sacrifice creature's toughness. At first glance, I didn't read the word toughness. I thought it was power, and I'm like, okay, well, this is kind of bleh. But then I realized it said toughness, and I immediately knew where I was going to head with this deck. We're going to build a mono blue Walls deck with a zombie sub-theme in it. Walls are dirt cheap. Creatures have, like, no power whatsoever, but massive toughness. But now we'll be able to, for a single blue, create a giant creature with great power. I'm pretty stoked about this. It definitely gives a new spin to the whole Doran the Siege Tower and Arcades the Strategist overall deck. Yes, this is mono blue. It's a little bit of a constraint, but this is definitely going to be a fun deck. Now let's go over the cards I'm going to include. With the walls, we want to focus on a very low converted mana cost with a very high toughness. First we start with Shield Sphere. It's a 0/6 for 0. Aegis Turtle, a 0/5 for a single blue. And Steel Wall, a 0/4 for a single blue. You want to focus on creatures like this, extremely low CMC, either 0 or 1, with a general power of 0 and a toughness of 4 or greater. There are so many options for this. Going into the 2 slot, we have Murmuring Mystic, a 0/5 for 2, Wall of Junk, a 0/7 for 2 generic, and a Riptide Turtle. Yes, I put that in here. A 0/5 for 1 of the blue, and it has flash, so little tricks up the sleeve. For our 3-drop slot, we have Glacial Wall, a 0/7 for 2 and a blue, Phyrexian Soulgorger, an 8/8 for 3 generic. It has the cumulative upkeep of sacrificing your creature, but we're going to sacrifice him himself immediately to get an 8/8 body. And then we have Wall of Frost, a 0/7 for 1 blue. Defender, when it blocks a creature, that creature does not untap during its control's next untap step. These are only 9 creatures to include, but there are so many different wall options out there. And guess what? They are dirt cheap to play out. Lastly, one of my favorite walls is a deck I actually built around that inspired this deck itself. Charix, the Raging Isle, 2 blue for a 0/17. Spells your opponents that target Charix that cost 2 more to cast. A little bit of protection on himself. He does have a second ability, but we don't really care about that. We have a 0/17 for 4 mana. If we sacrifice this, we now, for 5 mana, have a 17/17 with flying on the board. The amount of power this guy has is immense. Do not underestimate Charix on the field. He's a great blocker, and in the swing back, a phenomenal attacker. Now we're going to want to untap Geralf as many times as possible. Let's throw some untap abilities into it. We have Vizier of Tumbling Sands, 2 and a blue for a 1/3 human cleric. You tap to untap a permanent, but you can cycle them out to untap a permanent. Fate Stitcher, a 1/2/3 and a blue. Again, untap, but it does have Unearth, so you can bring it back for a single blue later on. 1,000-Year Elixir, a staple of untapping. 3 generic, you may activate abilities of creatures you control as though they had haste. You can use it right away. Pay 1 and tap it, untap target creature. Then we have Rings of Brightheart, 3 generic. Whenever you play an ability, if it's not a mana ability, you pay 2. You copy that ability. Same with Illusioner's Bracers, 2 generic for an equipment. Whenever an ability is equipped creature is activated, if it's not a mana, you copy it. These 2 cards are phenomenal. You can copy the ability over and over and over again. Guess what? Even more flying zombies. And then we have Mage Right's Stone, 2 generic, pay 1, untap target creature with an activated ability that has tap at its mana cost. For even more value of untapped shenanigans, we have Freed from the Real, 2 and a blue for just simply enchant creature, tap or untap for a single blue. Crab Umbra, a single blue enchant target creature. Pay 2 and a blue to untap it, but it also has totem armor, so you get even more value on top of that. And then you have Perman's Aura, 1 blue for either play a blue to untap it, but you also gain flying. It gets can't be targeted spells or ability, or you can buff it even further. So you can just dump all your mana into this and then sacrifice something else, and guess what? That creature is going to be massive. Yes, you want to use it predominantly on Geralf's ability to untap him, but we can make a wall even bigger and make it a single threat to kill our opponents. Since all our creatures are going to be flying, guess what? We have the typical blue spell draw effects. Reconnaissance Mission, 2 blue, Coastal Piracy, 2 blue, and Binding to Thassa, 2 blue. Do you see a little bit of a trend here? Benefit of these cards, whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. These are phenomenal. Additionally, the Binding has an activated ability of 1 in a blue, tap it, creatures your opponents control attack this turn if able. Yeah, not the greatest thing, but guess what? With the amount of times we're going to swing in to get damage, these are going to make us draw even more cards and get even more value into our hands and onto the battlefield. And to round out the ultimate value, we have Intruder Alarm, 2 in a blue, enchantment. Creatures do not untap during their control's untap steps. That may seem like a downfall. But whenever a creature comes into play, untap all creatures. With the option of having Geralf in the battlefield, we can activate this ability over and over and over again. Watch out because it does trigger on your opponent's creatures, but there's so much value in this. Undead Alchemist, 3 in a blue for a 4/2 zombie. If a zombie you control would deal combat damage to a player, instead that player puts that many cards in the top of their library into their graveyard. This is just straight up mill. All our flying zombies can now mill our opponents. That's serious value. It also reads, when a creature card is put into an opponent's graveyard from his or her library, exile that card. That's phenomenal ability on this. And then you put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield. Guess what? We're going to mill our opponents, get zombies, the zombies fly, we mill more, it just triggers and triggers and triggers. And then lastly, a phenomenal card for this deck, Cleaver Scab, 3 in a blue for a 2/4 zombie horror. Pay 3 and tap it, sacrifice another zombie. That's not non-token, that's any zombie. Create 2 tokens that are copies of that sacrificed creature. Now for 3 generic and a simple tap, we can sacrifice any of our giant zombies and make 2 of them and get even more damage in. This card is epic for this deck. And that is my quick take for Geralf Visionary Stitcher. Oh, this is so awesome. It's got a little jank to it, basically just playing walls, turning into giant-ass zombies, but that's pretty awesome, not gonna lie. So, what kind of walls you throwing in this deck? Guess what? Walls are dirt cheap. So this deck's probably gonna cost like $100. I'm gonna have the deck tech down in the description down below. Let me know if you want a full description of this deck, because I'd love to make a video about that. Let me know how you build the deck out. I'd love to hear in the comments down below. Again, my name is Chris from the Commander Crew. Thanks for watching. Please remember, like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification for future videos. Peace.